Donald Trump was ordered to pay $83.3 million for a false accusation against himself from the Jean E. Carroll case, right? He was automatically found liable for that, which it's obviously clear to anybody that looked into that case a little bit that he obviously didn't do that. There's way too many circumstances, stuff to go wrong for that to actually happen. It's just bizarre as hell, and now he has to pay $83 million for defamation, right? What in the hell is going on in our court system, folks? I guess that's what you get when you put a bunch of Democrats in charge. Georgia State Senate is opening an investigation into Fani Willis, man. It's not looking good for her and her RICO case against Trump. She should have never brought that case. That's a bunch of BS, right? You hear people on the left all the time arguing that, oh, but Trump tried to subvert, tried to overthrow the government, blah, 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 blah. It was all done through legal means. It was all done within the judicial system. That's what I don't understand. Just because he had some kind of weird theories that have never been put into place about how all this stuff should go, they want to try to say he was trying to overthrow the damn government. No, there's challenges to every single election. I'm sorry. Just because he had some kind of, I guess I'll call it, some thrown off theories that didn't actually pan out in the end, they want to put him in jail for that. Houthi rebels are striking again. It's an all-out war in the Red Sea over there with Yemen and the Houthi rebels. These people are trying to disrupt the trade of the entire globe with what they're doing, because a whole hell of a lot of trade goes through that Red Sea. And what they're doing is crazy. We got Oklahoma governor warning about Joe Biden nationalizing Texas National Guard, or federalizing Texas National Guard, which he's got to go through some legal hurdles to get to that point, but he can still do it, which is crazy. And I just wonder what's going to happen if he does do that, because the situation at the border right now is kind of crazy. If you don't know what's going on the border, I've been covering that. There's a bunch of stories coming out about that right now. We've got all kind of different states backing Texas, saying, go for it, we got your back. States all over the United States, as far north as South Dakota. That's right, South Dakota's backing Texas, and I don't blame these people. This migrant crisis is absolutely insane right now, but we're trying to get out of that. We got Joe Biden shutting down more LNG projects, which it's like, how much more damage does this guy want to do to the economy? Right? The border invasion is already bad enough. You send $113 billion to Ukraine. You're trying to meddle in Middle Eastern affairs, which, foreign policy. I'm not big on foreign policy, but I still don't like us meddling in other people's affairs. I don't think we should be doing that as far as we are. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't intervene militarily, in other words. But what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news, keep you up to date on what the government's doing. So if you're interested in staying informed and staying up to date on what the White House is doing, what Congress is doing, what bills are fitting to pass, smash that subscribe button for me if you don't mind, and turn on your notifications. We pop out videos every single day, but sometimes they don't come up in your feed, so you hit that notification bell. It'll make sure you get it every single time. Enough of my ranting. Let's get into the story. Speaker Johnson, Senate border deal dead on arrival in House. Yeah, that's right. They've been trying to work out some more legislation for the border, which I've been very vocal about this. Been saying, look, we don't need no more laws. We have plenty of laws, right? Joe Biden is actually breaking the law with what he's doing on that southern border. We don't need to pass new laws. So all this border stuff is to get people that aren't paying attention, that know that there's a crisis on the southern border, to be like, oh, okay, yay, Republicans are doing something for us. But they're really not, because all the laws are on the books to contain the border, to secure the border, to have operational control over the border, right? We all know that. It's in the definition of a law that was passed in 2003. I think it's the Secure Borders Act. They define operational control as not letting any peoples or contraband cross our border illegally. So all the laws are in place. What it is Joe Biden's policy of open door, soft invasion, essentially, is what's going on. And then Texas tries to stop it, like we've been talking about. Texas tries to stop it, puts the National Guard up there, and Joe Biden sues Texas for trying to protect their border. It is absolutely insane. Joe Biden's cutting off LNG projects. He's paying back student loans without the Supreme Court told him no, and he did it anyway. What is this guy doing? Y'all thought Trump was bad, right? People on the left was like, oh, Trump's the worst thing ever. But look at what the hell Biden is absolutely destroying our country from the inside out. And he is completely oblivious to it. And if he's not oblivious to it, he sure looks oblivious to it. But he seems to be oblivious to it because anybody in their right mind is going to see that what he's doing is ripping this country apart limb from limb in real time while we're still alive. It is absolutely nuts, and it's just crazy, y'all. Let's get into this story. Check this out. Speaker Mike Johnson said in a Friday letter to his colleagues that Senate legislation addressing the border and aid to Ukraine and other countries would have been dead on arrival in the House if reports about its terms are true. The letter follows separate signals from House leadership aides and conservatives in the House and Senate that the supplemental package has no future in the House, even if approved by the Senate. I wanted to provide a brief update regarding the supplemental and the border since the Senate appears unable to reach an agreement. If rumors about the contents of the draft proposal are true, it would have been dead on arrival in the House anyway, Johnson said in a letter to colleagues. The letter comes as Senate Republicans are searching for an alternative plan on how to get aid to Ukraine across the finish line. See, that's what this is really about. All these warmongers and this uniparty that's in Washington, D.C. wants to funnel all this money into Ukraine so they can virtue signal and be like, oh, we're saving democracy all over the world. But anybody that looks into the Ukraine conflict, right, because there's a lot there, realizes very quickly that that's a lie, because Ukraine is not a democracy, right? Just like the United States isn't a democracy. Actually, it's not just like the United States. So we're a constitutional republic. Ukraine claims to be a democracy, but yet they ban opposition political parties. They're banning Russian Orthodox churches, which might be understandable, but that's not of a democracy, right? Consolidated all the news media into one state-run news media machine, basically, which is, if Biden could do that, he certainly would do that. He's got MSNBC and he's got CNN, but he doesn't have all the other ones. But Ukraine is not a democracy, right? And look, I understand wanting to help Ukraine. Hey, I get it. Putin evil. Russia bad for invading Ukraine. This is all terrible. He shouldn't have done it. And that initial wave, I'm glad Ukraine was able to fight back to where they're at. But that war has been at a standstill, and there is no sense continuing to fund a war that is not progressing at all, especially when there's no peace negotiations going on at all. There's not even any attempts. There was one attempt, and it was wrecked by the United States and the UK government. They sacked those peace negotiations, which could have put an end to that war, which would have put an end to all the death and all the destruction that's going on. It's just like Israel, right? Israel doesn't want to stop. They want to totally obliterate Hamas. And they don't seem to care that they're going to kill a lot of Palestinians in the process. Which, hey, look, I'm right there with getting rid of Hamas by any and all means, except I don't particularly care for all the innocent civilians that are getting killed because of this. But I understand the difficulties in trying to differentiate between Hamas fighters and Hamas backers and Palestinians who just want all the BS to stop. I get it. The Ukraine support, which has its own critics in the GOP, was coupled with border talks as a means of securing its passage, but the coupling has actually made it more difficult for the Ukraine support to move forward due to seemingly intractable policy and political concerns related to the border talks. Former President Trump's win in the Iowa caucuses and New Hampshire primary and his opposition to the border deal is a big part of the problem. Trump sees the package as not going far enough. He's also said to want to use the border issue against Biden in November, which you don't really need to do that because Biden has already screwed himself so badly that anybody that's following him it's a cult-like following. Anybody who says, yes, we need Joe Biden again. Joe Biden over anybody else. Those people are blind to the facts. Johnson's message about the bill being dead on arrival in the House was also reiterated to Republican chiefs of staff Thursday by House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. In his letter, the Speaker turned to the next major action coming from House Republicans that will come in retaliation of border policies: impeachment of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, who Johnson charged has willfully ignored and actively undermined our nation's immigration laws. A markup of impeachment articles against Mayorkas in the House Homeland Security Committee is scheduled for Tuesday, and I can't wait for it. A vote on the floor will be held as soon as possible thereafter, Johnson said of the impeachment articles, adding that public opinion polls show the country has overwhelmingly sided with us on this issue. The Department of Homeland Security wrote in a memo earlier this month that in trying to impeach Mayorkas, House Republicans are wasting time on baseless and pointless political attacks that are harmful to the department and its workforce and undercuts vital work across countless national security priorities. The Speaker also raised the H.R. 2 Secure Border Act, which House Republicans passed last year, as containing the core legislative reforms that are necessary to actually compel the Biden administration to resolve the border catastrophe. That bill, which includes restarting the Remain in Mexico policy and restarting construction of a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border, has conversely been declared dead on arrival in the Senate. That's right. And he pointed back to his request of Biden to take executive action to stem the flow of migrants at the border, including by restarting Trump-era policies. If Biden wants our conference to view him as good faith negotiator, he can start with the stroke of a pen, Johnson said. Johnson reiterated his support for Texas Governor Greg Abbott in his feud with the federal government over placement of razor wire along the border. The Supreme Court said the government could remove the razor wire, and Texas Governor Greg Abbott said, hell no, we're not doing that. As a matter of fact, we're sending the National Guard in there to kick you guys out so you cannot remove this razor wire. And as far as impeaching Mayorkas, right, it might not do any good at this point because we only have, 10, 11 months left, right? You're gonna take out Mayorkas and put somebody else in there, and then they're just going to continue to do the same thing. You're going to have to impeach them as well, which isn't going to go over good because, you just put the guy in there. It doesn't make any sense. I would have loved for Alejandro Mayorkas to be impeached. He should have been impeached the first time he lied to Congress, saying, yes, the border is secure. We are doing our utmost, bestest job to secure that border, which they're not. As you saw in countless videos out there, you got CBP agents taking a forklift, lifting the razor wire up, allowing migrants to flow right on through. They're cutting the razor wire, removing it, getting it out of the way. They're actively working with cartels, people. They're actively working with these cartels because anybody that comes across that southern border, especially on that Texas side, has to go through a cartel to get here, right? You do not cross that southern border without going through a cartel. So when the Biden administration just allows these people to come right on in, they are helping the cartels. If people know that they can't get into this country when they try to come through, they're not going to pay the cartels $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 or whatever they got to pay, which the minimum I've heard is $5,000. The maximum I've heard is 15, with various numbers all in between. And you get a wristband. And some people, they actually have to work for the cartels in the country. Right? So they're smuggling drugs. They're smuggling humans. The Biden administration is absolutely 100% smuggling humans across international borders. That is an insane statement to make, but it is also 100% true. But that's all I got for this one, folks. I want you guys to let me know, what in the hell do y'all think about this? You know, are we ever going to get anywhere while Biden is still in office? You know, is this, Congress and Senate negotiation border Ukraine BS even worth our time? Or is it not worth our time? Let me know down in the comment section what you think about all this. Let me know what you think about Trump having to pay $83.3 million to a lady that falsely accused him of sexual misconduct. Just simply outrageous, folks. The lengths these people are willing to go to put Trump in jail is absolutely insane. That's why we gotta stand up and fight, y'all. We got to stand up and fight. And just because Trump is leading in the polls, when it comes time to vote, you better get your butt up there and go vote for somebody. Don't vote for Nikki Haley, and don't vote for Joe Biden. You want to vote for RFK? Hey, I hear that. I understand that vote. You don't like Trump? I understand that. Vote for RFK or Dean Phillips. Or, as a matter of fact, Marianne Williamson is probably the better of RFK, the better of the alternates, I guess you could say. But, like I said, let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got. And y'all try to have a good day and be positive. Peace.